So when we were looking for a farm, we didn't want to be too picky because, at some point you have to compromise. But we had this idea that the house would be integrated with the farm property. We found a lot of properties where it was very much with farms over there and this is our residence. And we didn't feel that way. We wanted the house and the farm to be integrated. So when we came across this property and we saw the layout, we could just immediately see it. That's it. This side of the house is the kitchen, the living room, and you walk right out of it and you're into the farm. And that's really important to us. You can sort of see how we've laid it out, which is it's all integrated. There's the house, the barn, and the farm, the pond, which is beauty. The front pasture will eventually get planted out probably in garlic. And so everything ties together into, it's not separated units, it's all one habitat for us and for everything else, right? Is there something
I think it's fascinating here because it is a new ecosystem for us, coming from California and other states before that, and me from France. So we have a lot to learn, and every day is a discovery of sorts. Being directly linked to the farm, the way the soil reacts to growing things, or anything that happens here with wildlife and all the beauty we see every day, which is, I think, enough to give us peace and the joy we are looking for to experience every day. So we are very grateful for that, I feel. Yeah. Beautiful here. It is.
Oh, hang on. Yeah. This one?
Yeah, and maybe a few more here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I will use them, but I don't know exactly how now, so I keep them, take them out of the way. Yeah.
Is this just extra pile here, or what?
Okay, so these are smaller, and I'm keeping the big ones here. This is another pile that I'm keeping.
Oh.
Could use them.
What's this one?
So yes, I could move that too.
Is this firewood?
No, because I can absolutely, and for the workshop that I'm going to do, I am going to pick up some of the branches here.
Okay.
So I need to go through, but it's approximately the same quality, I would say.
But
it would be great if there are fish, because they come from the irrigation system, and maybe they will multiply. That would be so beautiful.
Where does our logo come from, Michele?
Our logo?
Our brand?
Comes from this here. This beautiful...
Supposedly this windmill was from a local farm. I forget the exact history of it, but there was a local farm. I think that farm was shutting down, and that windmill was up for sale, or they're getting rid of it. And the original owner of this property, as legend goes, ran over there immediately to grab that windmill.
I wish it could work though.
It's one of the wonder windmills. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool to get that thing working again? So a friend of our son's climbed up there one day, and it's completely welded. So we said, well, so much for that. But it makes a great visual icon. So there you go. Our logo comes from that. We thought, oh, Authentic Artfarm. There's an A, there's a windmill. Why not? There we go. Michele's good at branding. So the history of the farm location, none of this, I don't want to say like none of this was here, but this was not here when we got here. It was a flower farm, and the flower farm was all over where we have the wildflowers now. And Michele and I had many, many discussions about where to put the actual farm itself. We knew we wanted it integrated with the property. We wanted it more on the community side of the property, less on the private side of the property. And we wanted it to be, she took a permaculture class. We thought a lot about zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. And we knew we wanted it very, very close. Number one rule in gardening or farming is the farther away it gets, the more you're going to ignore it. So we wanted it constantly in our view. The farm is a key part of our life, so we wanted that thing front and center for us. And so we debated over there, and eventually we said, as we moved back and forth between the house and the barn, which we were doing a lot, we wanted that thing right there, and we wanted it to feel integrated with the barn. And so we started several years ago, little by little, putting one bed here, one bed there, and then starting to fence it in, and then here's where we are today, still expanding, and eventually we'll expand probably onto the front pasture a little bit to produce more garlic and leeks and onions. But this is the fenced in area. Fenced in for two reasons. One is keeping the deer out. That's the obvious reason for a deer fence. But there's a larger integrated strategy here, ecosystem strategy. We want animals on the property. We just don't want them eating the lettuce. The lettuce is for the humans, usually, although we have other animals that sometimes eat our lettuce. So we want deer on the property, we want as much wildlife on the property as possible, and where we don't want to be in conflict with them, well, we'll fence it off and we'll just avoid that conflict. And so that allows us to bring wildlife onto the property, but eliminate certain zones where, hey, look, this is our growing space, and so that's why we do it here. We've had suggestions fence the entire property, but that kind of goes against our philosophy of allowing wildlife to go through. We took down a lot of sheep fences as well for that reason. We're in, what is it, March, April, almost April. March, not a lot growing. We're just beginning the season. Our season sort of officially kicks off around April 1st, but we do have garlic growing. Garlic grows through the winter. Eventually we'll expand garlic. It's one of our primary crops. Not much else growing, but you can see the overwintered garlic. You can also see the missing garlic where a gopher got in here and decided it liked garlic. These gophers probably have some really bad breath because they also eat our shallots. But we get into June, July, August, and this whole space will be filled with various crops, vegetables, which we sell to the local community. We discovered that spinach does really well over the winter here. And so the gopher also ate a lot of spinach, but that spinach crop is starting to take off again, and in about a week, we'll actually start getting spinach harvests.
Here we have a long bed of asparagus, and this year we should have our first yield for consumption, because it takes a long time for it to really grow strong. And yes, so we are going to...
We ate a few last year. They were quite tasty.
We ate a few.
But this year, that's it. We're having asparagus.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, the garlic. Whoa. It's going very strong. We had peppers, chichitos growing here last season, and you see maybe in the studio that they dried in a very interesting manner. A little bit the way you see them in Santa Fe. They dry, and you actually can do something new, not for consumption necessarily, but for me as an art material. Very, very cool colors. They are light. There are many of them. I didn't take all of them, but I have a big box. Very cool.
You notice we got a fairly tight alleyway here. Not ideal. Mostly just because we're trying to fit things in and figure it out, but you're like, well, you've got 5 acres, why not just spread out? We want to keep things compact. The whole goal is high productivity out of a small space, very regenerative, really focus on soil health. So the farm is compact by design. Michele and I are not getting younger. And the whole goal was, how do we produce the maximum amount in a small space, just using natural things, and keep things manageable at a small scale, right? We don't want tractors. We don't use tractors here other than a little riding lawnmower, but we don't want to get tractors in here. We want everything at a human scale. The first year we were here, we had a massive sunflower forest over there, which was really quite cool. But deer love to eat sunflowers, and so we're trying to bring everything that needs to be protected into the protected space. And so last year we grew sunflowers all along the border of the fence, which also serves to beautify this space for the neighbors. it's important that our neighbors also enjoy the space. And so we grew sunflowers all along here. And everybody loves seeing them from the road, and we love seeing them from the garden.
So we grow them from seed, and I love to watch the growth. Eventually, I harvest some for art material. I leave some for the pollinators. I actually harvest them after the bees use them, and just right before the birds start taking the seeds. I harvest some of them. You can see that there are still many flowers on the plants. And also, we leave them as they are the whole winter because some of the insects are actually putting their eggs in places, hidden places. And if you don't disturb them, in the spring they hatch, and then you can eventually remove the stems and go for the next growth. So it's a cool cycle. Beautiful. Yeah.
You'll see we got a few fruit trees growing here. Again, it was just about variety, enjoying the garden. There's a lot of things that we want to do, and so we want to come pick some apples here and there. Again, for us, although it is a commercial farm, we also just want to enjoy the space, right? So when you're out here, you don't want to just be like, this is work. You want to come over and you want to be able to pick a blueberry and eat it. And that really makes it an exciting place to be in. We also want it to be a beautiful space. We like when people come here and say, this is beautiful, I like being here. So we planted a variety of things, flowers, fruit trees, and that way people say, wow, I really enjoy being in your garden.
This is where I planted the sun balls last season. You can see some remainings here. And these are actually in the show. I have several bunches of them. They are really beautiful, very striking, their shape and the stems. So that's the very interesting place here to grow flowers. And we may extend this year.
Yeah. Squash patch and pumpkin patch last year. We donated, 200 pounds of squash and potatoes to the Fill Your Pantry last year. Yeah. And then the pumpkins go to all the neighbors. So we enjoyed doing that.
Here we have a bed of chamomile. So the chamomile is interesting. We grow it. We started to grow it from seeds. Now this is the plant from last year. It didn't die, also because the winter was so mild. So we are going to grow it. We are going to harvest the chamomile, keep it for tea and to give to neighbors and friends. And then you can see some of the chamomile plants that are dried in the exhibition. They are suspended in the installation A Sense of Place. And actually there are many bunches of the chamomile stems and plants. They are really beautiful at any state. So.
Twice a week routine for us. Come out with our coffee, harvest first thing in the morning. Last year we had lettuce in here. I come out, harvest lettuce, radishes, turnips, boom, right out the door. Our friends built us this big table here. So this is shaded in the morning, especially in the hot days of summer, August, particularly August. And so we'll harvest. That harvest comes right out onto the table. We prep everything into the boxes, usually at the grocery store within about 1 to 2 hours of harvest. This is a beautiful juniper tree. It's just gone absolutely crazy. And this is really actually quite important to us because, as I said, in the heat of the summer, this provides shade to us as we're working in the morning.
But I am in the process of sculpting a little bit, removing the bark. What we would like to do is to create a perch for birds of prey. That would help for some voles or gophers or little mammals that are running sometimes inside the garden. If we put the perch, if we place it nicely, it could help because we have owls. So we want to plant this perch.
We're super excited by compost. And so this is the geeky side of the farm where we get to build compost piles and they heat up to 150 degrees and we get really excited. So.
And we have donations from our dear neighbors who do not want to keep their leaves, so we take them.
Oh yeah,
and
all the
here you
leaves,
go.
all the leaves around here are from the neighbors.
Yeah.
We feel like we owe them some money or something, but they just give us all of their leaves, and they're really high quality leaves. We throw those in the compost. We have another friend of ours who he's a woodworker, and he's got a lathe and all the wood shavings, and we're like, how much do we owe you for all these materials? And they're like, please take our materials. So this stuff is just great. I mean, it's just gold. You take this, I mean, it reminds me of having hamsters and gerbils as a kid. You just take this, you're building your compost piles, and you throw some scraps from the kitchen in there, and you take out a bucket of this and throw it in there. You throw some leaves in there, and it just makes fantastic compost. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Our compost, when we get it finished and we get it screened, it's just real gold.
So this here is a pile from the white flower field. And I just, a few weeks ago, I just cut some of this because I needed to reseed the white flower field. So I do not know yet if it's art material or it will go to compost first. Sometimes that's the way it is on the farm. It's like I look at materials, I'm like, compost, art?
That's always a bit of a battle in this partnership, is whether something is compost or art. I had my eyes set on some materials for compost, and they ended up being art. So,
but eventually, some of the things that are actually in the exhibition are going to be composted in the end. So it's a cycle.
Yeah, I get excited by that.
Really?
So this is the farm entrance. Watch the bucket. So we got a lot of seedlings. We get into the height of April. These racks will be just absolutely full. We'll have the nursery full. We'll have so many seeds. Well, next week we plant peppers, eggplants, crespedias, some various flowers, things that have to get an early start on the season. So these racks will be absolutely full of seedlings. And then once we get the nursery moved, which is pretty much next week, then some of these will start going out into the nursery. We always kind of knew we needed a multi-function building for farm, for art, for hosting community events, things like that. And so we took the plunge and said, we're going to transform this sheep barn into a multi-function building. It is heated, it has a slab. We wanted to keep the beauty of the barn. These are all the original rafters. The barn was mostly like this. It had some small windows up here. We did all this. It mostly had these two entrances here. So we wanted to keep the beauty of the barn, but we wanted to turn it into a more practical space, both for Michele to do art, us to store farm things, us to start seedlings.
So we organize the barn in two spaces that are in fact connected, the farm space and the art space. But as you see, it's not like really separated. And it's going to be more organized as the time goes. The art space is a little bit more organized than the farm space for now. But it's a work in progress, so yes. Yes.
We wanted to get Michele's studio space finished out pretty fast, so she had a place to work and particularly start on her Scalehouse show. That was really the priority.
So here we have two large tables that are great for workshops and having community events, which we had several times, and it is great. They were made by a friend of our dear neighbors, Robert and Kate. So we love these tables. And then here it's a table that I've made. My first table, it's not great, but it works very well.
It works great.
It's really nice with wheels and stuff. And this is the table I spend a lot of time on doing precise things, and I have all my tools. And here I have my special tool, a laser cutter, my Glowforge, my special really tool that I work with a lot. And for example, I can show you here a flower press that was made on the Glowforge. So the Glowforge cut and engraves. So both functions are really, really cool. I can use wood and assemble pieces. And for example, here I can show you one of the pieces I have worked on for the show. So they are inlays and they are perfect on the Glowforge. You cut a shape in different shade of a certain color, and then you reassemble and you get something that is very cool to work with. And I'm doing right now these new assemblages that are more colored than the previous one, also using some driftwood here. And here you can see some of the prints. I was interested in looking at how I could show them and not finding a display. I create one on the Glowforge. So you see it can be helpful for many, many things. And here are some prints I did on gelatin not a long time ago. Actually, our last trip to France. And I worked with the plants in my grandpa's garden, which is very dear to me. So it is a full circle here from one garden to another, and bringing back these small prints from my dear grandpa's garden in southern France. The display will be at the gallery to present some prints in the show. So here you can see some of the bunches that I was talking about, some bunches of chamomile plants and some sun balls that are dried. That did not make it into the exhibition, but they are here and I'm enjoying seeing them every day. These here are a bunch of roots from mustard plants. I do not know yet what I'm going to do with them, but I clean them up. I want to assemble them somehow. The time will come where I will find a way to do something with them. And here in these boxes, there are some materials that I'm going to use for my upcoming workshop. It is part of the gallery exhibition. Some of the papers, branches from the property here, garlic stems, all sorts of very cool material that we are going to assemble, small pine cones. These actually come from my neighbor's place. So we have a lot of things to play with, and using also some of the owl feathers that we recently found. So these balls of soil here come from my artist residency at Montalvo last year in Saratoga, California. And when I was there, also exploring this idea of a sense of place, albeit temporary sense of place. When I was doing my residency, I only used materials I found there. The soil was beautiful, so I decided to make these bowls and use the leaves that were fallen on the soil. Here you can see the small collections of the different sizes of the wooden circles I'm using on pieces on the wood that you see in the exhibition. So they are cut on the laser cutter, and when I'm using them, I glue them one by one. And what I do is that I place one, and then the next one I see the one that fits best. So it takes a lot of time. It's like a puzzle of sorts. So on this wall here, you can find some examples, kind of simple examples of what I intend to propose to people to do during the workshop, the mobile workshop connected to the exhibition at Scalehouse Gallery, downtown Bend, using natural materials. Maybe people will bring their own, and we'll see. We'll explore with the materials I will bring.